So Microsoft just dropped a bombshell. Its AI, Copilot, is now free for everybody. And you guessed it, almost overnight, one massive question started flying around. Is this thing actually safe to use?
And you know what? That is absolutely the right question to be asking. It shows we're all starting to think way more seriously about our data privacy when it comes to AI. So let's dive in and really unpack what's happening behind the curtain with your data when you're using the free version versus the paid one.
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around this, the absolute best way to think about the free version versus the paid one is with a simple analogy. Think of it like you're hiring someone for your office. All right, so here's the deal. The free version, that's your temp worker. You've brought them in for the day. Are you going to give them the keys to your email inbox, your SharePoint, all your Teams chats? No way, right? So they're limited in how they can help, but it keeps all your important stuff secure. The paid version, though, that's your full-time assistant. You've given them the keys to the whole kingdom, so they can tap into all that context to help you in a much, much deeper way. That's the fundamental difference.
All right, but what about the security that covers both of them? Whether it's the temp or your full-time assistant, Microsoft has a foundational security promise that applies across the board.
They call it Enterprise Data Protection, or EDP for short. Now, this is super important. EDP isn't some fancy add-on you have to buy. It's the baseline. It's the set of promises Microsoft makes about how it handles your info, period. Doesn't matter if you're on the free plan or the paid one.
And this EDP is built on 4 really important promises. First, data isolation, meaning your stuff stays inside your company's secure little world, totally separate from everyone else. Second, data encryption. It's locked down tight whether it's sitting still or flying across the internet. Third, they promise top-notch physical security at their data centers. But honestly, that fourth one, that's the real game changer. Your data is never used to train the AI models for other people. This is a huge deal, especially when you compare it to a lot of other AI platforms out there.
Okay, so you've got all this great baseline security. It's easy to think, well, if I pay for the full-on integrated version, it must be even safer, right? And this, my friends, is where we uncover a hidden danger that honestly almost everyone misses.
I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? You pay more, you get more features, deeper integration. Surely that comes with more security baked in. But is that really how it works? Let's take a closer look.
And here's the twist. The paid version of Copilot doesn't really bring new security to the table. Instead, it just inherits whatever permissions you already have in place. So yeah, in a perfect world, it won't show people things they shouldn't see. But what happens when your permissions are, well, a total mess?
Let me paint you a picture. Let's say you've got John from the sales team. Good guy. But whoops, somewhere along the line, he was accidentally given access to the main HR folder. He shouldn't have it, but you know how permissions can get tangled? He doesn't even know he has access. Now, you roll out the paid Copilot license to him, and he asks a totally innocent question, just trying to do his job.
And boom. Just like that, Copilot, being the helpful assistant it is, dives into that HR folder John should never have had access to and reveals that the CEO got a 200% pay rise in the same year everyone else's pay was frozen. Yikes. And that is how a tiny little permissions mistake explodes into a massive internal data leak.
And that's the real takeaway here. Copilot doesn't fix your existing security mess, it puts a giant magnifying glass on it. But the danger isn't just about confidentiality, like with John's situation. It's also about data integrity. Think about it. What if you have tons of old archive files or duplicate documents floating around? Copilot has no idea that's outdated info. It's going to use it to give you answers, which could be completely wrong or misleading.
Okay, so remember how I said Microsoft promises your data stays inside your little bubble? Well, there's a tiny asterisk there. A small but really important exception. Let's talk about how Copilot connects to the outside world.
So, does all your data really stay within your organization's walls? The short answer is, not quite. See, if you ask Copilot something that it can't answer with your internal data, it needs to look outside. It needs to search the internet.
But hold on, it's not as scary as it sounds. Here's how it works. When you ask a question that needs web data, Copilot is smart about it. It doesn't just send your entire detailed prompt out to the world. Nope, it just pulls out the essential keywords and sends only those to the Bing search engine.
Let me give you a perfect example. Let's say you type in something really sensitive, like, we're looking to acquire a business called Fabricam. Can you find information about its financials and business strategy? Now, instead of blasting that whole sentence out to Bing, Copilot just sends the keywords, Fabricam Financials Strategy. See the difference? It's a subtle but absolutely critical detail that protects your confidential plan. Okay, so we've gone through all of that. Knowing what we know now, what is the single most important thing you need to do before you even think about rolling out the paid version of Copilot to your team? It really all comes down to one word: preparation.
Look, before you let any AI tool like this loose on your company's data, you absolutely have to get your house in order. We're talking a full top-to-bottom audit of your file permissions. Start with the really sensitive stuff, like finance and HR. It also means cleaning up your digital clutter. Get rid of old, duplicate, and archived files, or at the very least wall them off so Copilot can't find them and give you bad answers. Seriously, getting this stuff right isn't just a suggestion, it's non-negotiable.
At the end of the day, it all boils down to one simple truth. Whether we're talking about Microsoft Copilot or any other AI, the tool is only as secure and only as good as the data you give it. So the question we started with, is Copilot safe? Maybe that's not the right question. The real question you need to be asking is our data ready for it?